What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. There's so much wrestling news going on, we don't want to waste any of your time, so join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Brock directing Drew McIntyre, Vince tearing up a Raw script before the show, MJF flips off a 7-year-old fan, WWE Blocks AEW, Scott Steiner shoots on the WWE Hall of Fame, WWE Backstage has its lowest viewership in history, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. But let's waste no further time and get straight into the first story, as Brock directs Drew McIntyre. The Scottish psychopath delivered a strong message to the champion on Raw to show he is ready by delivering a claymore to Lesnar in both the ring and on the stage. McIntyre then grabbed the belt, which got a huge pop from the crowd. Now apparently this wasn't planned, as in an unedited video, Brock is screaming to McIntyre, "Pick up the title." It shows that even though you think Brock Lesnar doesn't give a crap about WWE or wrestling, he truly has a good understanding of the business and what puts wrestlers over, making them look hella strong. Next up, Vince McMahon tears up the Raw script just before the show. It looks like Vince McMahon is still out of control when it comes to last-minute changes to WWE programming. According to Wrestling Observer Live's Brian Alvarez, "I don't know everything that happened on Monday, but I do know that this guy showed up and he changed everything again. Apparently it was worse than usual, and if you watched the show was worse than usual. Vince's micromanagement of the WWE doesn't seem to have any end in sight and only seems to be getting worse. Is Vince in full panic mode as he tries to make WrestleMania 36 an overwhelming success while he's rumored to be looking to license the streaming rights to WWE's pay-per-views? Now we would suggest Vince has a lot riding on this year's show of shows, as his recent actions like putting the strap on Goldberg and last-minute rewrite of Raw makes it obvious what's going on in McMahon's mind. Next up, Teddy Hart is jailed again. It looks like Teddy Hart is having trouble staying out of jail. The member of the famous Hart wrestling family was arrested on 12 February 2020 for possession of a Schedule III narcotic and possession with intent to sell or distribute, and later released pending a 23rd April court appearance in Richmond, Virginia. PW Insider is reporting that Hart is once again incarcerated in Richmond, Virginia at the Richmond City Jail as of 3:04 p.m. Eastern Time this afternoon. PWInsider.com is working on confirming details. Of course, we'll keep you updated as details emerge. MJF flips off a 7-year-old fan. Maxwell Jacob Friedman is known for being an old-school heel, playing a heel 24/7 whether it's in the ring or making personal appearances. However, some fans think MJF took things a little too far when he flipped off a 7-year-old fan at the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo. The fan's father shared his experience via social media saying, "My little guy was all excited to go to C2E2 the very next day to see some of the wrestlers. The first we saw was MJF. You may have seen the pic and or video going around that is me and my son, that when he flips him off. I tried to laugh it off, knowing he's just in character, and Joey Janela was great helping to calm my son down, but it really upset him. I know that's his gimmick, but he's only 7 and doesn't understand. I hope you guys can understand and tell him to calm his antics down in front of kids." Cody responded to the dad's concern tweeting, "Hey Tom, I'll make it up to you. You near any of the cities we're visiting soon? Disclaimer, if you have a meet or greet or inquire media-wise for MJF, you'll get MJF. Talent have freedom of expression, so please don't think anybody is going to act any different than they do on television." MJF has appeared on local morning news shows acting in character and antagonizing television reporters. Rumor has it he was equally obnoxious during the recent Jericho cruise, so adult fans know what to expect. However, should he start dialing back his heel act when it comes to kids, or should parents expect their little ones will get the same schmucky treatment from MJF as adults do? Next up, Scott Steiner shoots on the WWE Hall of Fame. Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner has never held back when it comes to wrestlers he doesn't like, whether it's Nature Boy Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan or Triple H. Recently, wrestling's genetic freak spoke to David Penza on Penza's podcast Sitting Ringside, discussing why he doesn't care about going into the WWE Hall of Fame.
First off, where in the is the Hall of Fame? It's wherever the actual Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
They don't have one.
Explain. Exactly. So how can you be in the Hall of Fame if it doesn't exist? It exists in Vince's mind. So what, do I give a fuck if I rent space in Vince's mind? No, I don't give a fuck what he thinks. So I don't care if I'm in the Hall of Fame because it's a fucking joke because it don't exist. Why do I care if I go in the Hall of Fame? It's not there. Go visit it. Where? Where are you going to go visit it?
That's fair enough.
The fans have long discussed how it seems unlikely they'll ever see Chris Benoit go in the WWE Hall of Fame, and based on Steiner's comments, he's right up there as the least likely to make it into the WWE Hall of Fame. Next up, WWE Backstage suffers its lowest viewership in history. The ratings are in for the WWE Backstage's 3rd March 2020 episode, and they aren't good. Bad doesn't even come close to describing them. According to Ringside News, the show, which featured Jeff Hardy, drew the lowest rating in the show's history, a measly 18,000 viewers. The show also drew a 0.1 in the coveted 18 to 49 demographic. This is by far the lowest rating and viewership in the show's history. Prior to this week, the lowest rating was the show's regularly scheduled debut, which brought in 49,000. This is a huge drop from last week's viewership of 127,000. The week before that brought in 169,000. Could WWE Backstage be on the brink of cancellation after this awful performance, or was it just a fluke? Next up, Eric Bischoff discusses Bill Goldberg's big win. Like many people, Eric Bischoff was surprised to see Bill Goldberg defeat The Fiend at Super Showdown. During an episode of his podcast 83 Weeks, Eazy-E shared his thoughts on the match.
Bill is first and foremost a businessman. So if Bill is going to Saudi Arabia, it was a financial decision, a business decision. Bill is not in love with the wrestling business. I think he, especially after performing in WrestleMania and going into the Hall of Fame, I'm pretty certain that in order for Bill to leave the comfort of his home in San Diego, which is where I heard he's living last, he doesn't need the money. He's very comfortable where he's at. He's Jewish, and he's going to Saudi Arabia, which is a very controversial situation in and of itself. I don't think Bill made that decision lightly. And I think when it came down to it, it was purely business. And I would imagine it is an enormous amount of money.
Next up, WWE Blocks AEW. Vince McMahon's new rules seem to be causing quite a stir amongst the wrestling community. In his latest attempt to stop giving AEW any exposure, he's barred any event organizers mixing WWE stars with AEW stars. Dave Meltzer mentioned on the recent edition of the Wrestling Observer Radio, there is an event called The Big Event in New York on Saturday, and Matt Hardy was booked on the convention. Some WWE guys were booked as well. The convention guys were basically told you cannot book anyone from AEW. That's one of the rules now, that if you book a WWE guy anywhere, baseball game, autograph signing, Wizard World, then nobody from AEW is allowed. That's just their rule. Petty? Yeah. Smart? Oh, absolutely. Why would you want to give any exposure to your competition? It just makes sense. As Meltzer mentioned, this is the reason why Matt Hardy pulled from the event due to his affiliation with AEW. Wait a minute, what? Yeah, more on that in a video coming up later today. And finally, Bruce Campbell's advice for CM Punk. Fans of the Evil Dead franchise know that Bruce Campbell is synonymous with the character of Ash Williams, the protagonist of the Evil Dead horror films and Ash vs. the Evil Dead television series. However, with Campbell out as Ash, WWE fans have been clamoring for CM Punk to take over the role. Horror website Dread Central is reporting Bruce Campbell has retired from the role of Ash, but will serve as a producer on the new Evil Dead flick Sam Raimi teased last year. Campbell let slip the new movie may begin filming later this year, and today we hear via MovieWeb that some fans have taken to Twitter to let us know WWE and the Girl on the Third Floor star CM Punk might be the best choice for new Ash. However, while Campbell is done as Ash, he seems to have taken exception to the idea of Punk playing the role. The square-jawed Hollywood star tweeted, "You know what? CM Punk is great. He should play a guy in a horror series named Nash, or Bash, or Lash. With all due respect, the name Ash is like the best table at a restaurant, reserved." Would you like to see CM Punk join the Evil Dead franchise? Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.